I'm Alex Morgan, and my entire net worth at the moment is exactly $20.37 at the Chandler Weekend Market, under the unforgiving Arizona spring sun. I'm sweating through my work shirt while staring at a silver bracelet like it belongs in a museum. It's gorgeous, delicate, twisted metal with flecks of turquoise that shimmer in the morning light. The tag reads $18. That means I'd be left with just enough for a couple bucks worth of gas to get home. Still, when was the last time I let myself have something beautiful? I reach for it only to see another hand dart out from the left at the very same moment. Our fingers brush against the cool metal and I look up into the bluest eyes I've ever seen. This woman's got golden hair pulled back in some fancy twist, wearing more on her wrist than I make in a month. She's older than me, maybe late 30s, with this confident way of standing that screams money. "Oh, excuse me," she says, but doesn't pull her hand away. Her voice is smooth like expensive whiskey. "No problem. I should let go, should walk away, and buy a sandwich instead." But something about the way she's looking at me makes my feet root to the dusty ground. The vendor, some old guy with paint-stained fingers, glances between us. "Ladies, I got other jewelry if you're both interested." "Actually," the blonde says, still holding my gaze, "I think this belongs to you." She releases the bracelet and steps back. "It matches your eyes perfectly." I blink. My eyes are green. Exactly. She smiles, and damn if it doesn't make my stomach flip. The turquoise brings out the color. This is insane. She's probably got a dozen bracelets at home worth more than my rent. I can't afford it anyway. "Sure you can." She pulls out a crisp 50 and hands it to the vendor. "Keep the change." Before I can protest, she's fastening the bracelet around my wrist. Her fingers are soft against my skin and she smells like jasmine and something else I can't place. Rich girl perfume. Probably costs more than my grocery budget. "I don't even know your name." I manage. "Eleanor Reyes." She slides a business card into my palm, her touch lingering longer than necessary. "And you're going to call me?" It's not a question. Eleanor Reyes turns and walks away, her heels clicking against the pavement with purpose. I stand there like an idiot, watching her disappear into the crowd of Saturday morning shoppers. The business card is thick. Expensive stock. Gold lettering that reads Eleanor Reyes, executive hospitality consultant, with a downtown address that's definitely not in my neighborhood. I look down at the bracelet circling my wrist. The silver feels warm now, like it's been waiting for me. The turquoise stones catch the light as I move my hand, and for the first time in months, I feel like maybe I'm worth something beautiful. The vendor grins at me, counting his unexpected windfall. "That's some lady friend you got there." "Friend?" "Right. Because women like Eleanor Reyes make friends with broke landscapers who smell like fertilizer and sweat." I pocket the card and head toward my beat-up truck. But I can't shake the feeling that everything just changed. 20 minutes later, I'm still sitting in the market parking lot, staring at that damn card. 3 days later, I'm elbowed deep in Mr. Peterson's rose garden, cursing under my breath as thorns shred my work gloves. This is my second job today. Already spent 6 hours at the Miller estate trimming hedges that probably cost more than my truck. The Arizona sun's beating down mercilessly and sweat's dripping into my eyes. My phone buzzes. Unknown number. "This is Alex. The bracelet looks lovely on you." That voice smooth as silk, confident as hell. "Eleanor Reyes. How did you get my number?" "I have my ways." "Are you busy?" I laugh, wiping dirt off my forehead with the back of my hand. "Lady, I'm always busy. Some of us work for a living." Silence. "Damn, that sounded harsher than I meant." "I'd like to hire you," she says finally. "For what?" "Garden consultation. My estate needs attention." The way she says attention makes something flutter in my chest. "Professional, Alex. Keep it professional. My rate's $40 an hour. Minimum 3-hour consultation." "Perfect. Tomorrow at 2. I should say no. Should stick to my regular clients who pay on time and don't make my pulse race with a simple phone call. But rent's due Friday and I'm short. Fine? Text me the address. That evening, I'm nursing a beer in my studio apartment, staring at Eleanor's address on my phone. I looked it up. It's in Paradise Valley, where houses start at $2 million and go up from there. What the hell am I walking into? The next afternoon, I'm standing at iron gates that probably cost more than everything I own. The intercom crackles. When I press the button, "Mr. Morgan, please come up." The gates swing open silently, revealing a winding driveway through perfectly manicured grounds. My truck looks ridiculous, crunching up the gravel, but I park right in front of the massive Spanish colonial mansion anyway. Eleanor opens the door before I can knock. She's wearing white linen pants and a silk blouse that probably costs more than my monthly grocery budget. But it's her smile that stops me cold, warm, genuine. Nothing like the polished socialite from the market. "You came. I said I would." She steps aside and I catch that jasmine scent again as I pass. The foyer's bigger than my entire apartment with tile floors and a chandelier that looks like it belongs in a museum. Impressive place. I manage. It's too much for one person. Something sad flickers across her face. "Come, let me show you the garden." We walk through the house, my work boots echoing on expensive tile. Through floor to ceiling windows, I can see the backyard. If you can call to acres of neglected paradise a backyard. Previous owner was a collector, Eleanor explains. Sliding open glass doors. Rare plants from all over the world, but I know nothing about maintaining them. The garden's a mess, but a beautiful one. Overgrown bougainvillea cascades over stone walls and exotic plants I can barely identify struggle. In the Arizona heat, there's potential here. Incredible potential. This is amazing. I breathe, walking toward a struggling bird of paradise. These plants are worth a fortune. Can you save them? Most of them, yeah, but it's going to take time and money. Eleanor steps closer. Close enough that I can see golden flecks in her blue eyes. Money's not an issue. Must be nice. It is and it isn't. She reaches out, adjusting the turquoise bracelet on my wrist. Some things can't be bought. The way she's looking at me, the way her fingers linger on my skin. This isn't about gardening anymore. My breath catches as she moves even closer. "Eleanor, tell me you feel it, too." I should step back. Should maintain professional distance. Instead, I find myself leaning into her touch. "This is crazy," I whisper. The best things usually are. Her lips brush mine, soft and tentative. For a moment, the world narrows to just this. Eleanor's mouth against mine. The scent of jasmine. The warm Arizona afternoon wrapping around us like a promise. When we break apart, I'm breathing hard. That was complicated. I finish. Eleanor laughs, but there's something vulnerable in her eyes. "Everything good is complicated, Alex." I arrive at Eleanor's estate the next morning with my truck loaded with soil amendments and fertilizer. The kiss keeps replaying in my head, making me second-guess every decision that led me here. Professional boundaries, Alex. That's what I keep telling myself as I park beside the fountain. Eleanor meets me at the garden gate wearing designer jeans and a white cotton shirt that probably costs more than my rent. She looks effortlessly elegant while I'm already dusty from loading supplies. "Ready to get your hands dirty?" I ask, trying to sound casual. "Lead the way." We spend the morning working side by side, and I'm surprised by how quickly she picks up the basics. Her manicured hands get filthy as she helps me transplant struggling succulents. But she doesn't complain. There's something refreshing about watching her genuine excitement as we rescue a dying jasmine vine. "This was my grandmother's favorite," Eleanor says, gently supporting the plant as I work. "She had one just like it in Alabama." "You're not from Arizona, Birmingham originally. Moved here after." She trails off, focusing intently on the plant. "After what?" Complicated family stuff. She straightens, wiping sweat from her forehead with the back of her hand. What about you? Native. Born and raised in Phoenix. Never had the money to leave. Eleanor's quiet for a moment, and I realize how bitter that sounded. Class differences hanging between us like a wall I can't seem to stop building. By noon, we've worked our way to the greenhouse, a stunning glass structure tucked behind towering oleander bushes. Inside, neglected orchids and tropical plants create a jungle atmosphere. The air is thick and humid, almost intoxicating. This is incredible, I breathe, examining a rare Burmad. Do you know what some of these are worth? Eleanor steps close, behind me, her hand resting on my lower back. I'm more interested in what you're worth. I turn and she's right there, blue eyes intense in the filtered greenhouse light. The space feels suddenly smaller, charged with something electric. Eleanor, we shouldn't. Why not? Her fingers trace along my jawline. Because I have money. Because people might talk. Because I don't belong in your world. She laughs softly. But there's sadness in it. Maybe I don't belong in it either. Before I can respond, her mouth's on mine. Hungry and desperate. This time, there's nothing tentative about it. She kisses me like she's drowning, and I'm air. My hands fist in her expensive shirt as she backs me against the potting bench. We're crazy. I gasp against her lips. Absolutely. Her hands slide under my work shirt. Fingers cool against heated skin. I should stop this. Should maintain some semblance of professionalism. But when she looks at me like I'm the most beautiful thing in her perfect world, rational thought abandons me. Time blurs in the greenhouse heat. Clothes fall away among the exotic blooms, and Eleanor's skin tastes like jasmine and promises I'm afraid to believe. She's generous and patient, learning my body like she's studying something precious. When I cry out her name, orchids witness our secrets. Afterward, we lie tangled on my discarded jacket, breathing hard in the humid air. This is insane, I whisper against her shoulder. Eleanor's fingers play with the turquoise bracelet she gave me. The most beautiful things usually are. Reality crashes back as my phone buzzes. Mr. Peterson expecting me into hours. I have to go. I sit up, suddenly, aware of our naked bodies among $200 plants. Stay. Eleanor's hand curves around my hip. I'll pay you double whatever he's paying. And there it is, the money again, hanging between us like a blade. It doesn't work that way, I say, pulling on my shirt. I'm not some service you can just buy more of. Eleanor's face shudders closed. That's not what I meant, isn't it? I stand gathering my scattered clothes. Look at this place, Eleanor. Look at you. Look at me. We're from different planets. So this was a mistake. The words taste like ash, but I forced them out. A really beautiful mistake. I'm dressed and heading for the door when Eleanor catches my wrist. Don't do this, Alex. Don't run because you're scared. I'm not scared, but we both know I'm lying. Your bracelet, she says softly. I look down at the silver and turquoise circling my wrist. The first beautiful thing anyone's given me in years. Keep it, Eleanor whispers. Please. I don't trust myself to speak, so I just nod and walk away. In my truck, I catch sight of myself in the mirror. Hair mussed, lips swollen, smelling like jasmine and secrets. What the hell have I gotten myself into? 3 days pass without contact, and I'm going crazy. Eleanor's everywhere. In the jasmine scent drifting from my neighbor's garden. In the turquoise bracelet I can't bring myself to remove. In the way my body remembers her touch every damn night. I'm installing sprinklers at the Henderson place when my phone buzzes. Eleanor's name on the screen makes my heart skip. I need to see you, her voice says. No greeting. Eleanor, I told you this was a mistake. Meet me at the Dessert Rose Cafe on McDowell. 1 hour. The line goes dead before I can refuse. The dessert rose is a dive bar disguised as a restaurant complete with neon beer signs and sticky floors. Not exactly Eleanor's scene, which becomes obvious the moment she walks in, wearing a simple sundress that probably cost more than my truck. Payment. She slides into the cracked vinyl booth across from me, looking completely out of place and absolutely stunning. Interesting choice, she says, glancing round at the other patrons, construction workers, retirees, and people like me who count every dollar. Welcome to my world, I say, sipping my $2 beer. Eleanor orders wine, and I almost laugh when the bartender brings her house red in a plastic cup. She doesn't even blink, just takes a sip and maintains eye contact with me. I can't stop thinking about you, she says quietly. My stomach flips. Eleanor, no, listen, I know we're from different places, but that doesn't mean anything. Not to me. Easy for you to say. You've never had to choose between gas money and groceries. She leans forward, her hand covering mine on the scarred table. Then teach me. Show me your world. Why? So you can play dress up poor for a few weeks before going back to Paradise Valley? The hurt that flashes across her face makes me regret the words immediately. That's not fair. Eleanor says you don't know anything about my life. You're right. All I know is what I see. The mansion, the perfect clothes, the way you throw money around like it doesn't matter. Money doesn't matter when you're lonely enough to die. The raw pain in her voice stops my defensive anger cold. Eleanor staring at her wine, vulnerability written across her features. I'm sorry, I say softly. That was cruel, but not wrong. She looks up, blue eyes bright with unshed tears. I have everything anyone could want, and I've never been more empty in my life. Before I can respond, she's sliding out of the booth. Come on, your turn to show me something real. We end up at Mika's food truck, parked in a vacant lot downtown. Eleanor follows my lead, ordering street tacos from Mika themselves. A 60-year-old Mexican person with calloused hands and the best carnitas in Phoenix. To regulars, I tell them in broken Spanish. Alex, you bring a friend. Mika grins at Eleanor, who smiles back genuinely. We sit on plastic chairs under string lights, eating $5 tacos that Eleanor declares better than any restaurant she's been to. Her enthusiasm seems real, not condescending, and some of my walls start crumbling. See that building? I point to a rundown apartment complex across the street. 3rd floor. Corner unit. That's where I grew up. Eleanor follows my gaze. Tell me about it. Mom worked 2 jobs just to keep the lights on. I learned to cook when I was 8 because she was never home. Got my first job at 14, lying about my age. Where's your mom now? Cancer took her 3 years ago. Medical bills ate everything she'd saved. Eleanor's quiet for a long moment. I'm sorry. Don't be. She did her best with what she had. I meet her eyes. That's what real people do, Eleanor. We don't have trust funds or safety nets. We just keep fighting. You think I don't fight? Something in her tone makes me look closer. Beneath the perfect exterior, there's steel in Eleanor Reyes. What do you fight? I ask. Expectations, family legacy. The assumption that having money means I don't get to want things for myself. We walk to her car afterward, an elegant BMW that looks absurd parked beside Mika's truck. Eleanor leans against the driver's door, and suddenly the space between us feels charged again. This is crazy, I whisper. The best things usually are. She echoes her words from the greenhouse. When she kisses me this time, it's different, softer, more questioning, like she's asking permission instead of taking what she wants. My hands frame her face, and I taste wine and possibility on her lips. I want to try, she says against my mouth. If you'll let me try what? This, us, whatever this is. I think about all the reasons it won't work, all the ways we're wrong for each other. Then I look into her blue eyes and see something I recognize. Loneliness, hope, the desperate need to matter to someone else. Okay, I breathe. But we do this my way sometimes. Your world, my world, somewhere in between. Eleanor's smile could light up downtown Phoenix. Deal, she kisses me again. And this time I don't think about differences or complications. I just think about the woman in my arms who tastes like jasmine and promises. Who looks at me like I'm worth fighting for. Maybe we are crazy, but maybe that's exactly what we both need. For 2 weeks, we've been living in this strange bubble of stolen moments and secret phone calls. Eleanor meets me at dive bars. I teach her to fix a leaky faucet, and somehow we make it work. She's nothing like I expected. Funnier, more genuine, willing to get her hands dirty in ways that have nothing to do with money. I'm finishing up at the Miller estate, already looking forward to seeing Eleanor tonight. When I hear car doors slamming at her place next door, through the hedge, I catch glimpses of a black sedan and shouting voices. Something's wrong. I abandon my tools and jog over using the gate code Eleanor gave me last week. The front door is wide open, and angry voices echo from inside. You can't just show up here, Christina. Eleanor's voice, but strained in a way I've never heard. I step into the foyer and freeze. Eleanor's facing a tall woman in an expensive suit. Dark hair, sharp features, everything about her screaming wealth and entitlement. But what stops me cold is the little boy clinging to her hand. He's maybe 8 years old with Eleanor's blonde hair and blue eyes. The resemblance is unmistakable. Mommy, the boy says, and my world tilts sideways. Mommy, Eleanor has a son, Leo, sweetheart. Eleanor's voice breaks as she kneels down. You've grown so much. The woman, Christina, notices me standing there like an idiot. Her eyes narrow, taking in my work clothes and dirt-stained hands. And you are? Alex Morgan. I'm the landscaper. Eleanor's face goes white. Christina, this isn't the time, isn't it? She smirks. But it's cold as winter, Leo. Why don't you go explore? Your mother and I need to chat with the help. The little boy hesitates, looking between all the adults with confusion and fear. Eleanor nods encouragingly, and Leo wanders toward the living room. What do you want, Christina? Eleanor stands, composing herself with visible effort. What's mine? What the court awarded me. She pulls out legal documents. Full custody. Remember, boarding school was temporary until I could provide a stable home environment. He's been at school for 3 years, Eleanor says quietly. You've barely visited because you made it clear he wasn't welcome in your lifestyle. Her gaze flicks to me meaningfully. Things change. My new husband wants children around. New husband? I feel like I'm drowning in information I was never supposed to know. Eleanor, I say slowly. We should talk later, she says without looking at me. All her attention on Christina. Actually, now's perfect. Christina's smile is predatory. Ms. Morgan should understand what she's gotten involved with. Eleanor is not exactly parent material. Shut up. Eleanor snaps. Tell her about the neglect charges. Tell her why Leo's been living away from home since he was 5. Eleanor's composure cracks. Completely. I was sick, Christina. You know I was sick. Alcoholism isn't an excuse for abandoning your child. The words hit Eleanor like physical blows. She staggers backward and I step forward instinctively, wanting to shield her from whatever poison this woman is spilling. Get out, I say. Christina laughs. Excuse me. You heard me. Take your legal papers and get the hell out. This is my daughter we're discussing, Bull. If she was really your priority, you wouldn't be using her as a weapon. His face darkens. I don't think you understand the situation. Miss Morgan, Eleanor has a history of poor judgment in men, in friends, in life choices generally. The court agreed she's unfit. I look at Eleanor, seeing her differently now, but not less. Her struggles, her loneliness, her desperate need to matter to someone. It all makes terrible sense. Everyone makes mistakes, I say quietly. Some mistakes cost. Children their stability, Leo reappears in the doorway, clutching a stuffed rabbit. Daddy, when are we going home? The word daddy from Eleanor's daughter's mouth makes Eleanor flinch visibly. Christina's expression softens as she looks at Leo. Soon. Princess Daddy just needs to finish talking to Mommy. Can Mommy come, too? Silence stretches between the adults, while an 8-year-old waits for an answer that will break somebody's heart. No matter what, we'll see, sweetheart, Christina says finally. Eleanor kneels down again, her hands shaking as she touches Leo's face. Be good for Daddy, okay? Mommy loves you so much. I know. Leo hugs her briefly, then skips back to Christina. We'll be in touch about visitation, she says, gathering Leo's things. And Eleanor, I'd be careful about your associations. The court looks unfavorably on unstable influences. She's talking about me, about us. After they leave, Eleanor and I stand in her enormous foyer, silence stretching between us like a chasm. She won't meet my eyes. You have a daughter, I say finally. Had I had a daughter, Eleanor, don't. Her voice is raw. Don't say whatever you're thinking. What I'm thinking is that you should have told me. She laughs bitterly, right? Because that would have made this so much easier. It would have made it honest. Now she looks at me, and the pain in her eyes is devastating. Would you have stayed if you'd known? If you'd known I was the kind of mother who loses her child, who drinks herself unconscious, while her 5-year-old makes her own dinner? I don't know, I answer truthfully. Exactly. Eleanor walks toward the window, staring out at the garden we worked on together. I've been sober for 2 years, Alex. 2 years of trying to become someone worthy of getting her back. And now what? Now she wins because I'm involved with someone like you, and the court will see that as another poor choice. Someone like me. The words sting more than they should. Someone like me, I repeat. That's not what I meant. Yes, it is. I head for the door, my chest tight with hurt and anger. You're right, Eleanor. We are from different worlds and apparently mine isn't good enough for yours. Alex, wait. But I'm already gone. Walking away from Jasmine and promises and the sound of a woman calling my name. I throw myself into work like a woman possessed. 12-hour days, back-to-back clients. Anything to keep Eleanor and her blue-eyed daughter out of my head. It's been 5 days since I walked out, and my phone's full of messages I refuse to listen to. Mr. Peterson corners me by his rose bushes, wearing that concerned expression. Older women perfect after decades of watching disasters unfold. Honey, you look terrible, Lou. Just tired. I attack a stubborn weed with unnecessary violence. That rich lady called here looking for you. Said you weren't answering your phone, my hands still. What did you tell her? That you were busy. But Alex Sugar, maybe you should hear what she has to say. I shake my head, ripping up another weed. Some things are better left buried. Meanwhile, Eleanor is falling apart in her mansion. I know because Mika tells me when I stopped by his truck Thursday night. Your lady friend came by yesterday, he says, handing me carnita tacos. Looked like hell warmed over. She's not my lady friend. Mika raises an eyebrow. You her. She ordered 10 tacos and didn't eat any. Just sat there crying into plastic containers. Damn it. Not my problem, I mutter. But the words taste like ash. Friday afternoon. I'm finishing irrigation repairs when Eleanor appears at the Miller estate. She looks exactly like Mika described. Hollowed, thinner, wearing yesterday's clothes like she forgot how to take care of herself. We need to talk. She says, I'm working, Alex. Please, Miller chooses that moment to emerge from his house, taking one look at Eleanor and immediately switching into protective mode. Is there a problem here? No, sir, I say quickly. Miss Reyes was just leaving. Eleanor flinches at the dismissal, but doesn't move. Christina filed for emergency custody. The hearing's Monday. My hands freeze on the sprinkler head. What does that have to do with me? She's using you. US as evidence I'm unfit. Eleanor's voice cracks. Says, I'm corrupting influences around my daughter. Mr. Miller makes a disgusted sound. Women like that make me sick. Sir, I really need to finish this job, I say. But my conviction's wavering. Eleanor steps closer, and I catch that jasmine scent that's haunted my dreams all week. I know what I said was wrong. I know I hurt you. She's crying now, not caring that Mr. Miller's watching. But I can't lose her again. Alex, I can't. Then fight for her. How? She has lawyers, money, a perfect nuclear family. What do I have? You have love. Love doesn't win custody battles. Mr. Miller steps between us, studying Eleanor with sharp eyes. You're the mother, he says finally. Yes, sir. Then you fight like one. Get yourself a good lawyer. Clean up your act and show that court you die before letting anyone hurt your baby. Eleanor nods through her tears. I'm trying, but she's right about one thing. I made mistakes, terrible ones. We all have, Mr. Miller says firmly. Question is what you do after. That evening, Eleanor shows up at my apartment uninvited. I open the door to find her holding a bottle of wine and looking determined. I'm not drinking, she says before I can speak. Haven't had a drop in over 2 years. But I thought you might want some while I gravel. Despite everything, I almost smile. Pretty sure of yourself. Desperate, actually. I let her in because I'm weak and because she looks like she hasn't slept since I walked out. My apartment suddenly feels tiny with her in it. All expensive perfume and nervous energy. Nice place, she lies, glancing around my studio. Eleanor, what do you want? She sits on my lumpy couch, hands clasped in her lap like a schoolgirl. I want to tell you about Leo's father, about why I lost him. You don't owe me explanations. Yes, I do. Eleanor takes a shaky breath. I married Christina right out of college. She was everything my family wanted. Wealthy, connected, politically ambitious. I was arm candy with the right pedigree. I pour myself wine and settle into my only chair, waiting. When Leo was born, I thought everything would change, that I'd finally matter for something besides looking pretty at fundraisers. Eleanor's voice drops, but Christina just saw another prop. The perfect family image. So you started drinking. I started drowning. She looks up, and the pain in her eyes is devastating. Function during the day. Numb myself at night until the day I passed out and Leo wandered outside alone. Neighbors called social services. My chest tightens, imagining 5-year-old Leo, confused and scared. Christina used it against me in court, painted me as an unstable drunk who endangered our child. Judge agreed. Eleanor is crying again. I haven't had custody in 3 years. But you got sober. Too little, too late. And now she's threatening to cut off all visitation if I don't stay away from you. There it is. The real reason she's here. So this is goodbye, I say quietly. Eleanor stands abruptly, crossing to where I sit. Before I can protest, she's kneeling beside my chair, hands framing my face. No, this is me choosing you anyway. Her mouth finds mine, desperate and hungry. I taste salt from her tears and something deeper. Need, hope, the kind of reckless courage that comes from having nothing left to lose. Eleanor, stop. I whisper against her lips. I can't. Her hands slide into my hair. I can't lose you, too. You might lose everything. I already have. When she kisses me again, I stop fighting. Stop thinking about consequences and custody battles and the dozens of ways this will end badly. Eleanor's skin is warm against mine as clothes disappear. And, for this moment, nothing exists except the woman in my arms who's choosing me over everything else that matters. Monday morning arrives like a death sentence. Eleanor's custody hearing is at 10 o'clock and I'm supposed to be installing sprinklers at the Garcia place. Instead, I'm sitting in my truck outside the courthouse watching well-dressed people with briefcases hurry up granite steps. I shouldn't be here. This isn't my fight. But I can't stop thinking about Saturday night in my apartment. Eleanor's whispered. Confessions. The way she held on to me like I was her lifeline. The desperate courage in her voice when she said she was choosing me anyway. My phone buzzes. Text from Eleanor. Don't come. Christina's expecting you. Stay away. Too late for that. Inside the courthouse smells like old wood and broken dreams. I find the family court wing and spot Eleanor immediately sitting alone on a bench, wearing a conservative navy suit that makes her look younger and more vulnerable. Christina is across the hallway with her legal team, a blonde woman in pearls who must be the new wife, and Leo. The little boy looks confused and small in his fancy dress. Eleanor sees me and shakes her head urgently. What are you doing here? Something stupid. Probably. Alex, she'll use this against me. Let her. Before she can protest. Christina notices me. Her smile is predatory as she approaches. Ms. Williams. How unexpected, Mr. Walsh. I thought Eleanor would have more sense than to bring her girlfriend to a custody hearing. The word girlfriend hangs between us like a challenge. Eleanor tenses beside me, but I step forward. She didn't bring me. I came on my own. To do what exactly? To tell the truth. Christina's smile falters slightly, which is that Eleanor Reyes is the strongest woman I've ever met. That she's been sober for 2 years and working every day to become the mother Leo deserves. That she loves that little boy more than her own life. And you base this assessment on what? Your extensive experience with child welfare. Heat flares in my chest. I base it on knowing what real love looks like, what sacrifice looks like, what fighting for something that matters looks like. Eleanor's hand finds mine, squeezing tight. How touching, Christina says. Does your expertise extend to appropriate role models for 8-year-olds? Appropriate like using your son as a weapon, like threatening to cut off his relationship with his mother, because you don't approve of who Eleanor loves. Christina's face darkens. Eleanor made her choices. Actions have consequences. Yeah, they do. And someday Leo's going to be old enough to understand exactly what you took from him. Reyes versus Walsh. A bailiff calls. Court's in session. The courtroom's smaller than I expected. All dark wood and intimidating formality. Eleanor's lawyer, a sharp woman in her 50s, presents a compelling case. 2 years sober, regular therapy, stable home environment, character witnesses. Then Christina's team takes over. They paint Eleanor as unstable, impulsive, a danger to her son's emotional well-being. They reference her inappropriate relationship with a working-class woman of questionable background. They suggest she's using Leo as an accessory to appear more maternal. Each word hits Eleanor like a physical blow. I watch her shrinking into herself, believing every cruel assessment. When the judge asks if there are any additional witnesses, I stand up. Your Honor, I'd like to speak. Eleanor's lawyer looks panicked. Christina smirks. The judge raises an eyebrow. And you are Alex Morgan. I glance at Eleanor, who's staring at me with wide, terrified eyes. I'm Eleanor's partner. The word feels right, even though we've never defined what we are. Miss Morgan. This isn't appropriate, Eleanor's lawyer whispers. Your Honor, I continue. I've heard a lot about Eleanor's mistakes, but I haven't heard anyone talk about her courage. Proceed. My hands are shaking, but I look at Leo sitting beside the social worker and find my voice. Eleanor Reyes nearly died trying to be perfect for everyone else. When that nearly killed her, she chose to get better. Not for her reputation, not for appearances, but because she wanted to be worthy of loving her son. Christina's lawyer objects, but the judge waves her silent. I work with wealthy families every day. I continue. I see how they treat their children like trophies, their wives like decorations. That's not Eleanor. She talks about Leo like he hung the moon. Shows me pictures, like other people show off Olympic medals. Eleanor's crying silently, but she's sitting straighter. You want to know what kind of mother she is? She's the kind who chooses her child's happiness over her own comfort, who fights for visitation rights even when it breaks her heart, who spent 3 years becoming someone worthy of unconditional love. I take a breath, addressing the judge directly. Eleanor made mistakes, but she's not making them anymore. And Leo deserves to know the woman his mother's become, not just the woman she used to be. The courtroom's quiet when I sit down. Eleanor reaches for my hand, her fingers ice cold. "Thank you," she whispers. The judge deliberates for 20 minutes that feel like 20 years. When she returns, her expression gives nothing away. This case involves complex family dynamics and a mother's journey toward rehabilitation. While Ms. Walsh provides a stable traditional home, the court recognizes that children benefit from relationships with both parents. When safe and appropriate, my heart pounds as she continues. "Miss Reyes, I'm granting you supervised visitation to begin immediately with review for extended custody in 6 months contingent on continued sobriety and stability." Eleanor collapses against me, sobbing with relief. It's not full custody, but it's hope. Christina looks furious, but her lawyer's already whispering damage control in her ear. Outside the courthouse, Eleanor pulls me into an empty alcove and kisses me fiercely. "I can't believe you did that," she gasps against my mouth. "Neither can I. You called yourself my partner." "Yeah, problem with that." Her smile could light up the entire downtown. Not even a little. Leo appears beside us, having escaped the adult's attention. "Are you my mom's girlfriend?" he asks with 8-year-old directness. Eleanor and I exchange glances. "Something like that," I tell him. "Do you like gardens?" Mom says. "You know about plants?" "I love gardens. Maybe sometime you'd like to learn about them, too." Leo nods enthusiastically before being reclaimed by the social worker. Eleanor leans against the courthouse wall, watching her son walk away. 6 months, she says quietly. 6 months. I agree. Think you can stay out of trouble that long? With you watching over me? Probably not. I kiss her again, tasting hope and jasmine, and the promise of something real. 3 months after the custody hearing, Eleanor's mansion feels like a different place. Gone are the sterile perfection and oppressive silence. Leo's presence twice a week has transformed the house into something resembling an actual home. I'm teaching them both to plant tomatoes in the vegetable garden we carved out behind the pool house. Leo's hands are filthy, his blonde hair escaping its ponytail as he digs enthusiastically in the rich soil. "Like this, Alex?" he asks, carefully placing a seedling. "Perfect. Now pack the soil gently round the roots." Eleanor kneels beside us, her designer jeans already stained with dirt. She's gotten better at this. The getting messy part, the being present part, the letting herself matter to someone who isn't keeping score. "Mom, look how big this one is." Leo holds up a tomato plant nearly as tall as he is. "That's going to feed us all summer," Eleanor says, and the pride in her voice makes my chest tight with something warm. The supervised visits have gone better than anyone expected. Leo's social worker, a kind man named James, barely intervenes anymore. He mostly sits on the patio reading while we work in the garden or play board games inside. "Miss Reyes has made remarkable progress," James told me last week. "Leo's comfortable here, happy." That happiness is obvious now as Leo chatters about school while we work. He's a smart kid, curious about everything with Eleanor's determination and Christina's stubborn streak. "Can I sleep over this weekend?" he asks suddenly. Eleanor and I exchange glances. Overnight visits aren't part of the current arrangement. We'll have to check with James, Eleanor says carefully. "And your mother?" Leo's face falls slightly, but he nods. Even at 8, he understands the complicated rules governing his life. That evening, after James takes Leo back to Christina's, Eleanor and I sit on the patio drinking iced tea and watching sunset paint the desert sky, pink and gold. "The custody review's in 3 months," Eleanor says quietly. I know. Think we'll pass. I study her profile. In the fading light, she's gained weight since the hearing. Looks healthier, more solid. The constant tension around her eyes has eased, replaced by something like peace. Yeah, I think we will. Eleanor turns to me, and there's something vulnerable in her expression. I never thanked you properly for what you did in court. You don't need to thank me. Yes, I do. She reaches for my hand, fingers interlacing with mine. You stood up for me when I couldn't stand up for myself. You saw something in me worth defending. I saw the woman I'm falling in love with fighting for what matters most. The words slip out before I can stop them. We've been dancing around the L word for months, both too scared to be the first to say it. Eleanor's breath catches. Falling. Fallen, I correct quietly. Past tense. Completely gone. Her smile starts slow and spreads like sunrise. Good, because I've been in love with you since the day you told Christina Walsh to go to hell. She kisses me then, soft and sweet in the gathering darkness. We've kissed hundreds of times since that first day in the greenhouse, but this one feels different, like a promise instead of a question. Move in with me, Eleanor whispers against my lips. What? Not to the main house, the guest cottage. It's bigger than your apartment, and you're here half the time anyway. I pull back to look at her. Eleanor, if we're living together, and something goes wrong with the custody case, then we'll deal with it together. Her thumb traces along my jawline. I'm tired of being afraid, Alex. Tired of letting other people's opinions dictate my choices. The guest cottage is a small Spanish-style house tucked between the main residence and the garden. Eleanor's been using it for storage, but it has good bones, exposed beams, tile floors, a cozy kitchen that overlooks the pool. I could be happy here, I admit, standing in the living room while Eleanor watches hopefully from the doorway. Is that a yes? It's a yes. Eleanor launches herself into my arms and we tumble onto the dust-covered couch laughing. She tastes like iced tea and happiness when she kisses me, her hands already working at the buttons of my work shirt. Careful, I murmur. The windows don't have curtains yet. Don't care. She breathes against my throat. Let them all see. Her mouth finds mine again, hungry and demanding. We make love on that old couch surrounded by moving boxes and afternoon sunlight. Eleanor whispering my name like a prayer as I map every inch of her skin. She's generous and patient, taking time to worship my body like it's something precious. When I cry out her name, the sound echoes off bare walls that will soon be ours. Afterward, we lie tangled together, planning our shared future. Leo's going to love having you so close, Eleanor says, fingers tracing lazy patterns on my shoulder. Do you think he'll be okay with us living together? Are you kidding? He's been asking when you're going to marry his mom. I laugh. Kids don't filter anything. Speaking of which, Eleanor props herself up on one elbow, suddenly nervous. Christina called yesterday. She wants to discuss reducing the supervision requirements. My pulse quickens. That's good news, right? I think so. James recommended it in his report. He says, Leo's thriving with our current arrangement. So, what's the catch? Eleanor's quiet for a long moment. No catch. I think Christina is actually ready to do what's best for Leo instead of what hurts me most. People change, I say softly. Some people. She kisses my forehead. The good ones anyway. That night, I pack my few belongings while Eleanor rearranges furniture in the cottage. It doesn't take long. After years of living paycheck to paycheck, I travel light. But Eleanor treats each item like treasure, finding perfect spots for my books, hanging my single decent dress in the spacious closet. This is really happening, I say, watching her fold my work clothes into expensive drawers. Having second thoughts? Never. The next morning, Leo arrives for his Wednesday visit to find me making breakfast in the cottage kitchen. His eyes go wide with delight. You live here now. I live here now. He throws his arms around my waist, squeezing tight. This is the best day ever. Eleanor appears in the doorway, coffee mug in hand, watching us with soft eyes. Come on, you two, she says. Let's go see how our tomatoes are growing. Walking to the garden with Eleanor and Leo, I feel something I haven't experienced in years. The sense of belonging somewhere, of mattering to people who matter to me. Maybe love isn't about finding someone from your own world. Maybe it's about building a new world together. One day at a time, one planted seed at a time. Spring returns to Chandler like a promise kept. 6 months have passed since I moved into the cottage, and Eleanor's custody review is behind us, successful beyond our wildest hopes. Leo now lives with us for days a week, sharing time between his old life and this new one we've built together. The garden we planted through fall and winter has exploded into bloom. Tomatoes hang heavy on the vine, herbs perfume the morning air, and the flower beds Eleanor and I designed together paint the landscape in impossible colors. Alex, come see. Leo calls from beside the fountain where we've been working on a special project all morning. I walk over to find him carefully arranging the last of the spring bulbs we planted in December. Tulips, daffodils, and hyacinths create a rainbow circle around the old fountain's base. It's perfect, kiddo. Eleanor emerges from the house carrying a tray of lemonade, wearing a sundress that shows off the tan she's developed from hours in the garden. She looks healthy, grounded, nothing like the brittle socialite I met at the antique market a year ago. Everyone, refreshment break, she announces. We sit in the shade of the ramada we built last month, watching bees work the lavender borders. Leo chatters about his school's science project while Eleanor and I exchange the kind of looks. Long-term, couples perfect, secret smiles, shared understanding. The comfortable intimacy of two people who've chosen each other every day for months. Mom, tell Alex about your surprise, Leo says suddenly. Eleanor nearly chokes on her lemonade. Leo, what surprise? I ask, immediately suspicious. It's not ready yet, Eleanor protests, but she's fighting a smile. Leo bounces in his chair. She bought something big. Eleanor sighs in defeat, reaching into her pocket to pull out a set of keys. I was going to wait until everything was finalized, but she hands me the keys and I turn them over in my palm, confused. Eleanor, what is this? Come on, she says, standing and pulling me to my feet. I'll show you. We pile into Eleanor's car and drive downtown, Leo chattering excitedly from the back seat. Eleanor parks outside a familiar building, the old warehouse that houses the weekend antique market where we first met. Why are we here? I ask. Eleanor's grinning now, unable to contain her excitement. Look at the sign. I follow her gaze to a new placard beside the entrance. Reyes Morgan Market. Opening spring 2024. My heart stops. Eleanor, what did you do? Bought the building. All of it. She's practically bouncing on her toes. The market vendors can stay, but I thought we could expand, add a garden center, maybe a cafe, something that's ours. Are you insane? Do you know how much work that would be? I know, but I also know you've always wanted to run your own landscaping business instead of working for other people. And I know I want to do something meaningful instead of just managing other people's parties. Leo tugs on my hand. There's more. Show her the other surprise. Eleanor leads us through the market to the back of the building, where vendors are already packing up for the day. In the corner, at the exact spot where we first met, sits a small display case. Inside, nestled on black velvet, is a collection of vintage jewelry. And there, right in the center, is a silver bracelet identical to the one circling my wrist. The jeweler who made yours had a whole collection, Eleanor explained softly. I bought them all for our first customers who find each other here. I stare at the display, overwhelmed by the poetry of it. You're going to give away matching bracelets to couples, to people who find something worth keeping, Eleanor corrects. Love, friendship, second chances, whatever they need to find. Leo's watching us both with bright eyes. Like you and Mom found each other. Exactly like that, Eleanor says. But she's looking at me. I turn the keys over in my palm, feeling their weight. This is crazy. The best things usually are. Eleanor echoes the words that have become our motto. We don't know anything about running a market. We'll learn together. It could fail spectacularly. It could succeed spectacularly. I look around the space that brought us together, imagining it filled with our dreams instead of just other people's discarded treasures. The garden center could go along the south wall, where the morning light is perfect. The cafe could occupy the corner by the main entrance. There's room for workshops, events, maybe even wedding receptions among the plants and vintage finds. There's something else, Eleanor says quietly. Something I need to ask you. She reaches into her purse and pulls out a small velvet box. My breath catches as she drops to one knee right there, in the middle of the antique market with vendors packing around. US and Leo clasping his hands in delight. Alex Morgan, Eleanor says, her voice steady despite the tears in her eyes. Will you marry me? The box opens to reveal a simple silver band set with turquoise stones that match our bracelets perfectly. Around us, the market has gone quiet. Vendors and late shoppers alike have stopped to watch, smiling at this unexpected romance unfolding in their midst. Eleanor, I whisper, I know we're from different worlds. I know it's complicated and messy and probably crazy, but I also know that you're the best thing that ever happened to me. You and Leo, you're my family, my real family. Leo bounces beside us. Say yes, Alex. Please say yes. I look down at Eleanor, kneeling among the dust and memories of a dozen Saturday mornings, offering me not just her heart, but a future built on shared dreams. Yes, I breathe. Of course. Yes. She slides the ring onto my finger as the market erupts in applause. Strangers cheer and whistle while Eleanor kisses me among the antiques and possibilities. I love you, she whispers against my lips. I love you, too, both of you. Leo launches himself at us, and we tumble into a three-way hug right there on the dusty floor, laughing and crying and planning our beautiful, complicated future. Later, as sunset paints the desert sky in shades of rose and gold, we plant a new tree in our garden, a small oak that will grow strong and deep-rooted, sheltering future generations with its shade. Make a wish, Eleanor tells Leo as we pat soil around the sapling's base. I wish we could stay like this forever, Leo says solemnly. Forever is a long time, I tell him, but we can try for every day. Eleanor's hand finds mine, our matching rings catching the last light. In 9 months, we'll open Reyes Morgan Market and discover that love stories have a way of attracting more love stories. The cafe will become a gathering place for couples celebrating anniversaries, families planning reunions, friends finding their way back to each other. But tonight, it's just us three and a garden full of promises, planting roots in the Arizona desert and believing in tomorrow.